The 20th of July, 1944. Just hours after German military officers attempt to assassinate Adolf Hitler at the Wolf's Lair, his East Prussian headquarters in Rustenburg, the Führer proceeds with his schedule, meeting Italy's fascist leader Benito Mussolini as though nothing has happened. The failed bombing triggers a ferocious wave of reprisals that sweeps through the collapsing Reich. Determined to crush every trace of dissent, Hitler orders the arrest, torture, and execution of hundreds of officers, civil servants, and anyone even vaguely suspected of sympathy with the conspirators. Fear and suspicion penetrate every level of the German Reich as former comrades turn on each other to prove their loyalty. Among those caught in this tightening web of vengeance is a once prominent Nazi Party official who has already fallen from favor. He is denounced for his Catholic faith, his moderation, his growing distance from the fanaticism he once served, and for making powerful enemies among the highest ranks of the regime. His name is Josef Wagner. Josef Wagner was born on the 12th of January, 1899 in the small town of Algringen, today's Algrange in France, then part of the German Empire. The son of a miner, he grew up in a devout Catholic family and entered a teacher training college in the summer of 1913. The First World War began on the 28th of July, 1914, and in 1917 the young student joined the Imperial German Army as a volunteer. In May 1918, Wagner was severely wounded and taken prisoner by the French. After 5 escape attempts, he finally fled from a prisoner of war camp disguised in a French officer's uniform. The First World War ended on the 11th of November 1918, and in August of the following year, Wagner returned to Germany via Switzerland. From 1922 onward, Wagner became active in nationalist politics. By this time, Adolf Hitler had founded the Nazi Party, a movement promoting extreme nationalism, racial ideology, and the destruction of the democratic system established after Germany's defeat in 1918. Wagner co-founded a local branch of the Nazi Party in the city of Bochum and became its first local group leader. After the party's ban following the failed beer hall putsch in November 1923, he continued his activities in the Völkisch Social Bloc, a movement closely aligned with National Socialism. When the Nazi Party was re-established in 1925, Wagner rejoined and quickly advanced to district leader. In 1928, he was appointed Gauleiter, the regional head of the party for Westphalia, and became one of the first 12 Nazi deputies in the Reichstag, the German parliament. By 1932, Wagner had founded a weekly and a daily Nazi newspaper, as well as an academy for political training, helping to shape the ideological foundation of the Nazi movement in Western Germany. On the 30th of January 1933, Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany by President Paul von Hindenburg. In September 1933, Wagner joined the SA with the rank of SA Gruppenführer, a rank equivalent to Major General in the US Army. The SA, or Sturmabteilung, was the Nazi paramilitary force known as the Stormtroopers, or simply the Brown Shirts, for the color of their uniforms. They served as the early enforcers of the Nazi Party, intimidating political opponents and securing Nazi dominance in the streets. By December 1934, following the removal of Helmut Brückner, Wagner was appointed Gauleiter of the province of Silesia, with its capital in Breslau, today the Polish city of Wrocław. Brückner had been accused of disloyalty and of homosexual inclinations, and was subsequently imprisoned, dismissed, and expelled from the party. Retaining his original post in Westphalia, Wagner became one of the few Nazi officials to lead 2 regions simultaneously. In addition to his party functions, he succeeded Brückner as Oberpräsident, or High President, of the Prussian provinces of Lower and Upper Silesia, uniting under his control both the highest political and governmental authority in the region. In October 1936, Wagner was appointed Reich Commissioner for Pricing, responsible for controlling both wholesale and retail prices across Germany. The position was vital to the economic policy of Hermann Göring, the head of the German Air Force and director of the Four-Year Plan, which aimed to prepare the German economy for war. Wagner decreed that after November 1936, no price increases would be allowed. Yet, as shortages of raw materials grew, he was forced to ease restrictions, allowing limited increases for industries dependent on imported resources. In November 1937, Wagner was promoted to SA Obergruppenführer, an equivalent to lieutenant general in the US Army. The Second World War started on the 1st of September 1939, when Nazi Germany invaded Poland. Following the Nazi invasion, large parts of the country were annexed, including East Upper Silesia, which was added to Wagner's domain. 2 days later, Wagner met Adolf Eichmann, one of the chief architects of the Holocaust. Eichmann presented the so-called Nisko Plan, a scheme to deport 70 to 80,000 Jews from annexed Polish territories to a remote area near the city of Lublin, where they would be concentrated in a reservation under brutal conditions. Wagner agreed to cooperate, and the first deportations began in October 1939 from the city of Katowice, today Katowice in Poland. These deportations continued into early 1940, forcing Jews and Poles from their homes to make way for ethnic German settlers. Many deportees had died due to starvation, either during the transport or during their stay in the reservation. Additional deaths in the reservation were caused by typhus and typhoid fever epidemics, the lack of housing, and any sources of livelihood. The majority of those who survived this initial ordeal would later die in Nazi death camps. Wagner was in his position responsible for their tragic fate. By 1941, Josef Wagner stood at the height of his political career. Yet, behind this facade of success, he had made powerful enemies among the most ruthless men of the Nazi hierarchy. Among them were Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, and Martin Bormann, Hitler's private secretary and chief of the party chancellery. Both men despised Wagner. Himmler distrusted him for his independence and lack of fanaticism, while Bormann, a militant atheist, viewed Wagner's open Catholic faith as a direct challenge to the ideological purity of the Nazi Party. Bormann, one of the most virulently anti-religious figures in the Nazi leadership, seized every opportunity to destroy him. Wagner was accused of maintaining ties with Catholic Action, an organization condemned by the regime for its opposition to National Socialist doctrine. He had also sent his children to Catholic schools, an act forbidden for senior party members. Rumors spread that his wife had once knelt before the Pope during a Vatican reception, an image that infuriated Hitler's inner circle. The final pretext for Wagner's downfall came from a private letter written by Wagner's wife to their pregnant daughter. In it, she forbade her daughter's planned marriage to an SS officer because he had renounced the church. Himmler obtained the letter and passed it to Bormann, who quickly brought it to Hitler's attention. On the 9th of November 1941, during the annual commemoration of the failed beer hall putsch in Munich, all Gauleiters were assembled. In front of the gathered party elite, Hitler personally dismissed Wagner as Gauleiter. After Bormann read aloud Wagner's wife's letter, Hitler erupted in rage, publicly denouncing Wagner as disloyal and unworthy of his position. When Wagner attempted to speak in his own defense, Hitler ordered him to be silent and dismissed him from all positions, commanding that he be removed from the hall immediately. Within days, Wagner was also expelled from the Reichstag. On Hitler's orders, Wagner was brought before the Supreme Party Court, headed by Walter Buch, which had jurisdiction over party membership. Despite the pressure, Wagner mounted a vigorous defense, and in February 1942, the court acquitted him, declaring that there were no formal grounds for expulsion. The decision enraged both Bormann and Hitler, who refused to accept it. For months, the matter remained unresolved until the autumn of 1942, when Hitler summoned Buch to his headquarters, angrily scolded him, and demanded an immediate reversal. That same day, Buch wrote to Wagner, notifying him of his permanent expulsion from the Nazi Party. By October 1943, acting on Himmler's instructions, the Gestapo, the Nazi secret police, placed Wagner under constant surveillance. Once one of Hitler's most trusted regional leaders, he was now treated as a potential enemy of the state. By mid-1944, Germany was breaking apart under the weight of war, and opposition to Hitler was spreading within the army. Many officers concluded that only Hitler's removal could save the nation from total destruction. On the 20th of July, 1944, Oberst Klaus von Stauffenberg placed a bomb beneath the conference table inside the Führer's headquarters, the Wolf's Lair, in East Prussia. The explosion killed 4 men, but failed to kill Hitler, who escaped with minor injuries. The failed assassination triggered a brutal wave of arrests and executions across the Reich. Wagner's name appeared in a document found among the conspirators' papers. It listed upright and capable individuals who might be convinced to support an overthrow of Hitler, mentioning specifically Gauleiter Wagner. Though there was no evidence for his participation, that single reference sealed his fate. In late July 1944, the Gestapo arrested him and sent him to a concentration camp. Later, he was transferred to the Gestapo headquarters on Prinz Albrechtstrasse 8 in Berlin, where prisoners were interrogated and executed in secrecy. The exact circumstances of Wagner's death remain uncertain. The most widely accepted account holds that the 46-year-old Josef Wagner was hanged by the Gestapo on the 22nd of April 1945, just days before Soviet troops entered Berlin. A different account, recorded by a fellow prisoner, claims that Wagner survived until the 2nd of May 1945, when Red Army soldiers liberated the prison. According to this version, he was accidentally shot by a Russian soldier during the confusion of the liberation. Before we end today's story, take a look at worldhistory.tv, your special destination for true history lovers. Discover exclusive documentaries and incredible stories you won't find anywhere else. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more.